Today's gathering is not a protest. We're here to convey a message. The reason we're here to convey a message is because, first, of rising anti-Semitism, not only in this township, but all over the country and all over the world. Related to that, locally, one of our colleagues is charged with a hate crime, the hate being anti-Semitism. The local township, once upon a time, at the request of various Zionist interests, hung up an Israeli flag representing the Jews of this wonderful community. Another Jew took down the flag and he was charged with a hate crime, the hate being anti-Semitism. Now, we're not here to discuss the merits of the charge of property damage, but the hate, the idea that taking down an Israeli flag, a Zionist flag, is hate, that's what we're here to discuss. Instead of a protest, please consider today's meeting sensitivity training. The first thing we need to understand is that Israel is different than all countries in the world, and Israeli flag, therefore, is different than all flags in the world. Every country on this planet is the country of its citizens. Italy represents the Italians, Spain represents the Spanish, England represents the English, and America represents the Americans. But by Israeli law, Israel is different. Israel doesn't claim to be the state of the Israelis. Israel claims to be the state of the Jews. By Israel's nation-state law of 2017, Israel claims to be my state. I, an American Jew, my family was from Poland. I never lived in Israel. I don't plan on living in Israel. I have nothing to do with Israel. Yet Israel claims to be my state. Benjamin Netanyahu claims to be my prime minister. There is no other country like this in the world. Netanyahu, when he came to the United States of America in March 2015, he spoke to Congress about Barack Obama's Iran deal. He said he comes as, quote, an emissary of all the citizens of Israel, even those who don't agree with me, and of the entire Jewish people. Benjamin Netanyahu said that he's an emissary of the entire Jewish people. There is no foreign head of state that would dare come to some foreign country claiming to represent citizens of that country, citizens who have no right to vote in his foreign country, citizens who never lived in his foreign country, citizens who have no connection with his foreign country. This is the ideology of Zionism. On October 21st, 2015, Isaac Herzog said, quote, Netanyahu is not only the Israeli prime minister, but he's also the prime minister of the Jewish people. Naftali Bennett, a former prime minister of Israel, said that the prime minister of Israel is not a private person. He's the leader of the Jewish state and the leader of all the Jewish people. Jonathan Pollard, a convicted spy, spied on America for Israel, did his time, went back to Israel, and now says that he would recommend and suggest that all Americans should spy on the United States of America for Israel, American Jews, because Jews aren't regular Americans. Israel represents the Jews, and Jews, he said, have dual loyalty. This is Zionism. That flag says that we Jews are not real Americans, that we Jews are represented by a nation state, not ours, state of Israel, 6,000 miles away. The reason anti-Zionism is, according to the Zionist anti-Semitism, The Israelis said themselves, Netanyahu wrote it in his book, Avigdor Lieberman wrote it on Israel's own website of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. What Japan is to the Japanese, and Italy is to the Italians, France is to the French, and Israel is to the Jews. That's Zionism in a nutshell. Without Zionism, what France is to the French and Italy is to the Italians, Israel is to the Israelis. But Israel claims that Americans have dual loyalty. Israel claims to be the nation state of the Jews. This, needless to say, is enormously dangerous for us. We have no interest in being associated with Israel or its politics. We're not here to discuss Israel's actions, Israel's behaviors, Israel's politics. We're here to say that we have nothing to do with Israel. Israel is to us like China is. Jews are a religion. We're regular Americans, loyal to the United States of America, and we practice our Jewish religion. We have no interest. We are opposed, and we demand that we not be associated, we not be claimed by a foreign country. We demand that that flag that represents not only a country, but the ideology of Zionism, set aside for now the fact that Zionism is against Judaism and is a terrible sin according to our religion. Set aside for now about the prohibition of having a state, a sovereign Jewish state before the coming of the Messiah. Set aside all of that for now. That's not today's discussion. Today's discussion is that anti-Semitism is rising. And one of the reasons anti-Semitism is now rising in the United States of America is because Israel claims that their actions are connected to the American Jewish community. Israel claims they speak in the name of the Jews and that they represent the Jews. We knew this would happen. Because Israel claims to be the state of the Jews, Jews are held responsible for the actions of the state of Israel. Because Israel claims to be the Jewish state, not the state of the Israelis. Because it's the only country in the world that claims to represent citizens that have nothing to do with it, members of the non-existent Jewish nationality. Israel's Jews are in America held responsible for the actions of the state of Israel. Israel's own scientists, Tel Aviv University's Cantor Center for Anti-Semitism, Tel Aviv University's Cantor Center for Anti-Semitism says clearly, and they said it at the last Gaza war, quote, "Since Jews and Israelis are often conflated into a single collective, events in the Middle East, meaning Israel's actions, often provoke anti-Jewish groups and individuals into perpetuating hostile activities against local Jews. Experience shows," the Zionists themselves say, more from Tel Aviv University's data. Experience shows that as soon as the situation between Israel and the Palestinians or some of their Arab neighbor states turns violent, the number of anti-Semitic incidents increases all over the world. As Jews are forced to serve as scapegoats within reach for anger and frustration at Israel. This formula is very simple. When Japan bombs America, Americans are angry at the Japanese. And when America bombs Afghanistan, the Afghanis are angry at Americans. But when Israel bombs somebody else, the people who Israel bombed are not merely angry at the Israelis. They're angry at the Jews, because Israel claims to be the country of the Jews. And although nobody has a right, although it's criminal to attack any non-combatant, there are bad actors out there. And if Japan bombs America, there are Americans that will attack Japanese. And if America bombs Afghanistan, there are Afghanis that will attack Americans. And if Israel bombs somebody, there are criminals who will attack non-combatant Israelis. But why in the world would they attack Jews? Jews are as connected with Israel as Chinese are. We are here to say that we are not Israelis, we are not Zionists. Jews have no connection to the state of Israel. This is enormously dangerous for the Jewish people, not merely because Israel claims that it represents the Jews, but because Zionism claims that Jews are not typical citizens, we're not actual citizens, we're not actual nationals of our own countries. It claims dual loyalty to the Jews. This is how it starts. And if you don't believe me about how dangerous this is, I'm going to quote somebody who knows what Jew hate means. Adolf Hitler in Mein Kampf, chapter 2. Years of study and suffering in Vienna, it's called. Once, when passing through the inner city, Hitler writes, I suddenly encountered someone in a long kaftan and wearing black sidelocks. My first thought was, is this a Jew? But the more important question was, is this a German? And Hitler decided that, quote, there was not a question of Germans. These were not Germans who happened to be of a different religion, but rather this was an entirely different people. Jews were not Germans, Hitler says. And if you have any doubt, I quote, Mein Kampf, chapter 2. But any indecision which I may still have felt about that point was removed by the activities of a certain section of Jews themselves. A great movement called Zionism arose among them. Its aim was to assert the national character of Judaism, and the movement was strongly represented in Vienna. Adolf Hitler said, Jews are not Germans. Jews are their own nationality. The state of Israel agrees with Adolf Hitler that Jews are their own nationality. Thank God, and we express our gratitude to the township of Ramapo for removing the Zionist flag, the anti-Semitic, that represents the anti-Semitic ideology of Zionism. And we're here to say that taking down the Israeli flag, taking down an Israeli flag, opposing an Israeli flag representing Jews, is not done out of hate. It's done out of self-preservation. The person that did this knew that representing the Jews as nationals of a foreign country is dangerous to the Jewish people. The person that did this knew that anti-Semitism rises whenever Israel is involved in a controversy. It doesn't mean you're for or against Israel's actions. It means Israel has nothing to do with us, no more or less than the country of China. But because Zionists insist that Jews are not real Americans, that Israel is to the Jews what America is to the rest of the Americans, he said, please, don't hang up a flag like this in a Jewish neighborhood. I ask even Zionists, if you insist on hanging a heretical flag, if you insist on being a heretic, if you insist on your anti-Jewish religion, at least now, these days, now is not the time to hang up Israeli flags in Jewish neighborhoods. The Israeli flag is always against the Jewish religion. But because people believe that's the Jewish flag, and they believe that we're associated with a foreign country that's involved in a controversy, now is such a dangerous time for Jews. Now is not the time to associate us with some foreign country named the State of Israel or any foreign country at all. Not far from here, in a synagogue, not many years ago, a murderer barged into the synagogue with a machete and murdered one person and gravely injured a number of others. The rabbi of that synagogue was solicited by Zionists to please, they asked him, they bribed him to move out of New York, to move to Israel. Show the world, they said, that New York is not safe for Jews, that Jews need to run to Israel. The rabbi, of course, said, Israel's the most dangerous place Jews live. Why would anybody want to leave New York to move to Israel? The Zionists want Jews to be associated with Israel. Now is not the time. Never is the time to associate the Jews with the State of Israel. Jews are associated with their countries. We are loyal citizens and nationals of our country, the United States of America, just like any United States citizen of any other religion. We are no more connected to Israel than we're connected to China or Japan. Benjamin Netanyahu's statement, Avigdor Lieberman's statement, the statement of the Zionists that Japan is to the Japanese what Israel is to the Jews is a lie. It's an anti-Semitic lie. Japan is to the Japanese what Israel is to the Israelis. America is our country. Judaism is our religion. We have our own culture. We have our own communities, but we are fully loyal to the United States of America, and we demand of every township, every municipality in this country to treat us like every other American citizen and national in this country. Any association between us and the State of Israel in terms of nationality is anti-Semitic, and we will not stand for it. And we will not stand for it. There are Zionists who will attack us because we say we're regular American citizens. There are Zionists who will drive by and attack us because we believe that Judaism is a religion and that Israel is the country of the Israelis. Zionism is enormously dangerous for Jews. We're not associated with any foreign country. My gosh, my family's from Poland. My friends here, various countries, Hungary, Romania. But please, all we ask is that you leave us out of foreign politics. Every individual Jew, just as every individual of any religion, is fully entitled to have his own opinion about any foreign policy. And any American Jew is fully entitled to be treated like any American citizen of any other religion. That's all we ask. All we ask is to stop the growing tide of anti-Semitism, much of which is there because there are those who would associate us with the controversial acts, whether they're right or wrong, makes no difference, with the acts of a foreign country. We have nothing to do with any other country except the United States of America. We have nothing to do with any other religion except Judaism. Japan is to the Japanese what France is to the French, what Israel is to the Israelis. American Jews are full-fledged Americans, and we demand to be treated as such and to be looked at as such. We thank God that we live in the land of the free and the home of the brave, in a country that allows us the freedom of religion to practice as we believe and to create communities as we see fit. All we ask is that we be given the right to be called, to be treated as, and to be looked upon as Americans, and we are not loyal to any foreign country. In any country, any ideology, any people that claim that we Jews are loyal to a foreign country, that we have dual loyalty, that we are nationals of any foreign country, are anti-Semites, and we, with all the might, all the strength that we can, we disavow them, we condemn them, and we declare them anti-Semites. We pray that God should give us continued ability to practice our religion freely, and God should give this wonderful country, the United States of America, life and prosperity and all the success that this wonderful country deserves. And we want to thank again the town of Ramapo and the local government for understanding the sensitivities of its communities and understanding that we, the practitioners of the religion of Judaism, are United States citizens and loyal only to our country.